Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and what mods you should have installed has drastically changed in PokeMMO in the year 2025. I used to recommend things like custom strings to new players and other different mods, and now I think a lot of those have kind of changed and have kind of been stepped out, especially custom strings. But today, this is my 2025 mods I would recommend to PokeMMO players, whether it's your first day in the game, your 1,000th day, whatever it may be. These mods are good for everybody. And before I jump into the actual mods, I have a bonus thing to talk about. The step one thing that you, as a new player, as a veteran, every player should do is turn your text speed under the settings under gameplay to instant. This is a changed mechanic going into Pokemon in 2025. Everybody needs to make sure to have your text speed on instant if you want to be playing the game at the fastest pace and keep up with everybody else. The first mod I want to talk about is going to be the encounter counter. You can see it up in the top right hand corner of my screen. It's in all my streams, all my videos. I do have a custom theme on it. I can show you guys what it normally looks like. For most people, it's going to look something like this, more of like a Pokeball icon and kind of be a little sleeker. 38,000 encounters is how many encounters I've personally had since my last shiny. The encounter counter is something I recommend every single player install, especially new players. I think installing this day one will help add some perspective into how many, how close you are to a shiny. Now, obviously, I have to go over the big spiel. No matter how many encounters you have, you are never actually closer to a shiny. Even though I'm at 38,000 encounters, it does not mean that I'm due a shiny or should get a shiny. Every single encounter that I do is independent of the other. Encounters that I do now don't remember the 38,000 other encounters. So essentially, every single encounter is a 1 out of 30,000 roll. However, as a shiny hunter and as a player, just keeping track of this number helps me feel like I'm making progress even if I'm not, which is really important for the human brain. There is nothing more devastating than waking up, shiny hunting for 10 hours, not getting the shiny, and going to bed and seeing absolutely zero progress. The encounter counter helps you feel like you're making quote-unquote progress even if you aren't, and mental tools that help you keep continuing and keep going on when shiny hunting is crucial, because the only way you lose when shiny hunting is if you give up. But even if you don't care about shiny hunting, I think just using the encounter counter, the tracker, to be able to see how many encounters you've gotten over the course of your career, to be able to see what Pokemon you've encountered. You can do this little drop down and see what Mons you've encountered to see percentages. You could track how much Pokeyen you're making versus the encounters. You could do a lot of things. It helps you understand what's happening more in the game and understand your numbers to understand what you can expect from 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of your play, your pace of play in PokeMMO. It's also a good way to track whether or not you're being efficient. A lot of players may feel like they're being pretty efficient and then realize that the efficient rate for single encounters is around 300 encounters per hour with things like no guard and things like expert lures, and then they'll watch my streams and see that I'm getting like 250 encounters per hour. I'm not the most efficient player, and they may think that's the most efficient strat, but no. And then you have to understand what your pace of play is compared to what's considered quote-unquote efficient, what the max peak play is. It helps you understand where you stand and what you should be aiming for and all those things, how to judge how many hours you should be looking for a shiny for you. The encounter counter will help you understand your pace and your style of play, and everybody plays the game differently. One of the most common things I see is players asking, hey, I have 600 hours in the game and I still have no shiny. Is that unlucky? And the honest answer is, I don't know. It depends on how many encounters you've done. The amount of hours you have played does not matter in terms of your pace towards a shiny nearly as much as your encounter. Someone could have done, 600 hours played, done one region, and then just done ×5 hordes for the rest of that, and then they would be ridiculously dry. That would be really, really unlucky, most likely, right? They may have like over 100,000 encounters. However, a lot of other people might take 600 hours just to do all 5 of the storylines, and then for those who don't know, usually you only get about maximum on the high end. This is if you XP train and EV train everything with ×5 forwards in the storyline, you only get about 2,000 encounters per storyline. So a lot of people will spend hundreds of hours on the storylines, leave the storylines with like 10 to 12,000 encounters and be like, oh, I'm so dry, where's my shiny? Not knowing they're only at 10 to 12,000 encounters. So the encounter counter really adds perspective, and it helps you not feel, super unlucky when you haven't been. There will be a link on how to install Gillen's Encounter Counter in the description, since it's a little more complicated than the other mods. Most of the mods in PokeMMO, you simply download the file, which will all be linked in the description. You download the file, you unzip it, you put it in your PokeMMO mods folder, which for reference you can get to by going over to your PokeMMO folder and going over to open file location, going ahead and opening that, and that will open your PokeMMO folders. And then you want to essentially head over to, I can show you guys really quick. You want to drag this over, you want to head over to data, and then go to mods. And then this will be all your mods folder. So you can see all of my zipped up or unzipped mods. You could also just be inside of your PokeMMO client, go over to mod management and click open mods folder, which will do the same thing as well, which looks just like this. Also, don't feel overwhelmed or worried when you see a bunch of mods on my screen. Most of these are just meme mods. The only mods that really matter are the ones we're talking about today. And if you're wondering what I mean when I say the word meme mods, I usually mean something like this. Also, make sure after installing your mods to turn them on over in the mod management before actually logging into your game. Most mods you do have to turn on. The encounter counter is one that you actually don't have to turn on within the game. You have to open it alongside your PokeMMO client. So over here, though, we can actually see there are a few important mods that I actually have turned on, like the Unova follower sprites. This is the next one that I want to talk about. And once again, this will be linked in the description. Everyone should have the Unova follower sprites mod, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to show off your Gen 5 shinies, or even non-Gen like shinies, like Gen 5 Pokemon. Gen 5 Pokemon follower sprites aren't within the actual ROM files that we legally supply, so PokeMMO can't use them or can't access them. Now, thankfully, with the help of a mod, we can actually use these Pokemon and actually show them off to the world. So anyone with the Gen 5 sprites installed can see everybody else's Gen 5 follower sprites as well as your own, which is really important for shiny contests, shiny flexing, and just being able to see your beautiful Pokemon behind you. So using the link in the description, you can go over to the PokeMMO 5th Gen follower sprites page over here, scroll down and find the download button right here. This will take you over to a Mediafire link. You want to go ahead and click this download. This is honestly one of the easier ones to install because you don't even have to unzip it or anything like that. You just straight up get this mod file, which you can then click and drag over to your PokeMMO mods folder, and then bam, boom, it should work after you enable it in the mod management, of course. And then you would do the same exact thing with our next mod, our Sparkling Shinies mod. Make sure to enable it like so under Sparkling Shinies right here in the mod management. And then what that does is it just adds little sparkles around your Pokemon. And it's kind of cool to see in the summary page, but I think where it really shines and looks really cool is in battles. As a quick warning, I did enable my shiny sound for this, so if you hear a shiny noise, it is not a wild shiny, but I'm going to run back and forth here at this spot over in Unova, get myself a Stunfisk encounter, and then my Rampardos will be thrown out. You'll hear the shiny noise as per usual, but you'll also see all the sparkles, which is really nice to see all the sparkles. It gives your shinies a little bit of an extra flair. When you spend so many hours shunting for those shiny Pokemon, it's nice to be able to add a little extra element, a little extra flair, a little extra pop to them. These little pops and flares will also happen for wild shiny Pokemon. So when you get a shiny in the wild, it'll look much prettier for the screenshot, as well as different shinies have different rates of popping. I don't know if it's based on the Pokemon's speed or what decides it, but as you can see here, Dugtrio's sparkles seem to pop very, very quickly, but then kind of slow down and then slowed. I don't know why. I don't know why it works like this, okay? I'm not the mod creator, but honestly, I kind of like it. It makes it so every single shiny Pokemon has a little bit of extra flair and a little bit of personality to it. But that's everything. That's the top 3 mods that I recommend to every PokeMMO player, no matter what you do in-game install. And I'm going to be honest, it is kind of fun. I didn't realize all of these are kind of shiny hunting related. And I didn't mean for that to be the case. I know that only a small portion of PokeMMO players actually are dedicated towards shunting and actually want shunting to be their main course of gameplay. But I do think that no matter whether you are hardcore about shunting or not, I think that all of these mods are super important for the casual player being able to flex your Gen 5 Pokemon. I feel like it's a pretty core aspect of the game. Tracking your encounters, all of it, I feel like it just ends up being important to everyone and not just shiny hunters, in my personal opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Like it if it was. It's the quickest way to support me, and it's free. Just click the button really quick. Dislike if you didn't like it and think these mods are overrated. Subscribe to the channel if you want to support the PokeMMO content every single day. I do upload a new video every day. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, gifted subs, Twitch subscriptions, PayPal/Venmo donations are all super, super appreciated. But I'm going to continue trying to provide the best free PokeMMO content possible. I will see you guys later. Good luck in your shiny hunts today, and good luck playing PokeMMO. Hey, thank you so very much for watching until the very end of the video. That means the world to me. And if your name is listed here, you're the reason I'm able to do this in the first place by going above and beyond and supporting the channel via YouTube memberships and Twitch Primes. Thank you so much. Have a great day.